Were Obama and his generals on the same sheet of music?
More or less. Counterinsurgency quietly went away, yesterday's fashionable idea rendered obsolete almost overnight. It's actually an interesting illustration of how wacko ideas influence national policy. It happens periodically. Want to eliminate alcohol abuse? Well, let's amend the Constitution so that it's illegal to possess or consume booze. Want to guarantee victory in the next war? Well, let's plan on fighting it with nukes. You look back and wonder, what were people thinking? The same thing applies to the Iraq-Afghanistan counterinsurgency craze. The only good thing you can say about that craze is that it's soon passed.
What took the place of counterinsurgency?
Counterterrorism. Forget about winning Afghan hearts and minds. The operative idea was now to kill bad guys. Obama had had enough of trying to save countries by occupying them. Missile-firing drones and commandos now became his weapon of choice. Oddly, however, in a larger sense, the purpose of counterterrorism in Afghanistan mirrored the purpose of counterinsurgency in Iraq. The object of the exercise was to create conditions allowing the U.S. to withdraw. No one expected counterterrorism to win the war in Afghanistan. The hope was that it would enable us to pack up and leave. Obama had made clear his intention to end the Afghanistan war, just as he had ended U.S. involvement in the Iraq war. And there's little evidence that American generals were clamoring to extend the U.S. military's stay, which had already lasted more than a decade.
Talk to me about drones.
Obama did not invent the technique of using drones as instruments of targeted assassination. That distinction belongs to the George W. Bush administration. Back in November 2002, a Predator drone operated by the CIA had employed a Hellfire missile to blow up an SUV said to be carrying Yemeni terrorists. Little noted at the time, this was an enormously important development. What mattered was less the killing of a half-dozen reputed al-Qaeda operatives than the precedent the strike set. The United States was now asserting the prerogative of waiving old-fashioned notions of national sovereignty. The U.S. hadn't declared war on Yemen, but that didn't matter. When authorities in Washington decided that someone in a foreign country needed killing, they weren't going to bother asking for permission.
But we associate drone strikes with Obama, not with Bush.
We do. Obama's contribution was to greatly expand the reliance on drone strikes.
By how much?
By orders of magnitude. During the first 5 years of his presidency, Obama authorized more than 8 times as many drone strikes as his predecessor had authorized over the course of 2 full terms. And we should note that the victims included at least one American citizen deemed to pose such a threat to U.S. national security that Obama decided that he had to be liquidated. Another important precedent. So make sure you behave, lest you find yourself on the White House kill list.
There is such a thing?
Yes. Although the White House prefers the euphemism disposition matrix. The intelligence agencies maintain a database of individuals that they deem to pose a potential threat. Within the Obama White House, there are established procedures to review that list periodically and to propose targets for elimination. The president himself serves as what George W. Bush once referred to as the decider. It's all very organized and orderly, although conducted entirely in secret, of course.
Who has made the list?
Well, take a guess. Not Protestants, Catholics, and Jews. The United States doesn't employ drone strikes in Canada, or New Zealand, or Norway. Without exception, the targets are in the ungoverned and quasi-governed regions of the Islamic world. As a practical matter, under Obama, the great majority of strikes occurred in Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Yemen.
With what results?
Well, we killed quite a few people. Let's use Pakistan as an example. There, over the course of more than a decade, drone strikes approved by Bush and Obama have probably killed something on the order of 2,500 to 4,000 people. It's hard to pin down an exact number.
That's quite a few bad guys.
Yes, it is. Unfortunately, the casualty list also included some who were not bad guys. Assessing the civilian casualty rate is difficult, but a credible study by the New America Foundation found that in Pakistan, as little as 2% of the people killed in drone strikes were known militants. Back in 2005, Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld had sent a memo to his key subordinates bemoaning the fact that, quoting now, "We lack metrics to know if we're winning or losing the global war on terror." Rumsfeld went on to wonder if U.S. actions were actually creating more terrorists than they were killing. Rumsfeld never got an answer to this question as far as I can tell, but it applies in spades to the AfPak drone campaign. Drones kill terrorists, but they also kill and maim hundreds of others in the process, pissing off a great many people in lands where the United States hunts terrorists. Nationalistic Pakistanis viewed drone strikes as violating their country's sovereignty. By claiming that U.S. attacks occurred without their permission, Pakistani officials poured fuel onto the fire.
So, what would be a reasonable estimate for the number of bystanders killed in this campaign as of 2014?
This is where it gets sticky. U.S. authorities insist that the number of civilian casualties is small, in Pakistan totaling perhaps in the low hundreds. In practice, the lack of transparency in the program makes it hard to evaluate official estimates. Anyway, the Pentagon's idea of a small number may not square with the views of your typical Pakistani. If the Mexican army employed drone strikes in the United States to take out the unscrupulous gun runners flooding Mexico with illicit weapons, how many collateral casualties in Texas would we view as acceptable?
That depends on how much affection you have for Texans.
Yes, I suppose that's true.